Hi, I'm Marie Parks. I'm presenting my final key assessment project for APN 605 and our patient, Jane. In the past 6 years, Jane, a 14-year-old female, has gained about 10 to 15 pounds per year. This weight puts her about the 95th percentile for the BMI for age, which is considered obese. Another note is that both of her parents are obese. So why is Jane obese? There could be genetic factors that impact her metabolism, taste, and behavior preferences, which will affect her BMI now as well as into adulthood. While genetics may play a role, there are often other factors that play a part in a person's weight, such as their environment, like Jane's family's eating habits, their financial status, food security or insecurity, and the opportunity and desire that she has to be active. Does she like to go outside and play, or does she even have access to a yard to do that in? Jane's genetic and environmental factors are the perfect storm for her to have poor eating and exercise habits. As I mentioned, both of Jane's parents are obese, so either they're eating right and are physically active, conveying that genetics are at play, or they are not practicing healthy eating patterns, which is the most likely case since her family's financial status causes them to resort to fast food for a quick and inexpensive dinner most of the week. Also, Jane snacks on candy, chips, cookies, and soda. While these are cheap, easy snacks, her parents need to be informed of other snack options that are also cheap and easy, but more nutritious. Finally, Jane is mostly sedentary, except for 2 days of gym class per week at school. When she's home, she is inactive by watching TV or sitting around with friends. Why we need to take action. Teenage obesity, which Jane is an obese teenager, increases the risk of many undesirable health consequences. To name a few, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, depression, coronary heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, and even early death. So the sooner Jane incorporates dietary and lifestyle changes, the better her chance of obtaining a healthy weight now and into adulthood. So her current profile, she is 62 inches, 152.9 pounds, which brings her BMI to 27.9, which, like we said, is above the 91st percentile, considering her in the obese category. She gave us a 3-day food diary and, on average, consumed an excess of 754 calories a day. If Jane continues at that rate, she would be consuming around 275,000 extra calories per year, which calculates out to about 78 pounds if we use the equivalent of 1 pound to 3,500 calories. On those 3 days, she also consumed excessive amounts of carbohydrates, fat, and saturated fat, which we'll see on the next slide reflected in her blood work. Jane had an elevated fasting blood sugar and elevated hemoglobin A1C, which conveys that not only was that one time period her blood glucose high, but it's also been consistently high over at least the last 2 to 3 months. She also has an elevated bad cholesterol, or LDL, low density lipoprotein, her good cholesterol, which is the protective kind, HDL, high density lipoprotein. These abnormal measures can be attributed to a diet high in carbohydrates, particularly simple starches and sugar, and unhealthy fats, as well as Jane's lack of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein, which are sources of fiber, potassium, iron, and calcium, which nutrients were all lacking when we looked at her 3-day intake. For example, these are some of the low nutrients that she was low in, which is quite concerning, seeing that she's already in a high risk category. Her potassium was low. When potassium and sodium are all out of balance, that can affect blood pressure. And since she is consuming a lot of processed foods and fast food, which are high in sodium, it's likely that that's the case for her, and we do already know that her blood pressure is slightly elevated. Her intake of iron is also low, which puts her at risk for iron deficiency anemia, which due to reduced oxygen transport can cause low energy, and this is definitely not ideal for Jane's already sedentary lifestyle. She also had low intake of magnesium, which is important for muscle relaxation and associated with regular heartbeat. Magnesium is also important for calcium absorption. Sufficient calcium absorption into the bone is critical for maintaining a healthy bone density, and Jane may already be at risk for low bone density due to the fact that she fractured her ulna at age 4. She also had insufficient water intake. She drinks sugar-sweetened soda throughout the day. Not only does this increase her risk for type 2 diabetes and dehydration, it also increases her risk for cavities and other dental issues. So these requirements are based on her age, weight, and height. 1,891 calories, 213 to 307 grams carbohydrates, 26 grams fiber, 59 grams protein, 53 to 74 grams fat, and 10 cups of water. Keep in mind that foods like fruits and vegetables and soups also contribute to the daily water intake, so you don't necessarily have to drink the 10 cups of water. So here are some general steps for Jane to achieve a healthier weight and also better health. Decrease her overall calorie intake, limit her fat intake to no more than 30% of her daily calories, decrease the sodium intake, and also increase her physical activity. So more specifically, how will she achieve better health? So on the food front, we want her to eat more vegetables, fruits, lean protein such as skinless chicken, turkey, and pork, as well as whole grains. Instead of fried foods, try to stick to baked, grilled, or sautéed. We'd like her to aim to eat a vegetable or fruit with each meal, and she can try to vary the colors. The more colors, the better. Each color is associated with different nutrients, so that way she can get a wider variety of nutrients. Also, if at least twice per week, she could swap her cookies and ice cream or other dessert for low-fat pudding or yogurt. That would also be very beneficial. For drinks, she needs to eliminate the soda. If she likes the carbonation of soda, she can try sparkling water, like seltzer water or club soda. Those are all calorie-free, and you can add some flavoring to them with lemon or lime juice. She needs to aim for at least 8 glasses of water each day. And instead of sugar in her coffee, she can sweeten it with stevia, which is actually sweeter than sugar, and it doesn't have any calories or sugar. And there's also some studies that have shown stevia to help with blood glucose control. And we also need her to get moving. She doesn't necessarily have to work out or go to the gym. Not everyone likes that. If she doesn't like running or lifting weights, she just needs to find an activity that she enjoys, like riding a bike, walking with friends, rollerblading, dancing, or swimming. Whatever activity she finds enjoyable, she needs to make it a goal to get at least an hour of activity each day. Also, she should try to reduce the amount of TV she watches to no more than 2 hours a day. And when she does watch TV, she can incorporate activity into this time. For example, every commercial do 10 jumping jacks or walk in place until the show comes back on. So how to make a healthy, balanced diet feasible, also for Jane's parents, how they can help their daughter as well. Apply for SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, which will give them some additional money for food that is nutrient dense rather than dense in calories, fat, and sugar, like their current fast food dinners or restaurant dinners for food. With this extra money that they may have for food from the SNAP, they'll be able to prepare more meals at home. And with SNAP, it includes SNAP Ed, which teaches you how to prepare healthy, fast, and easy meals within a budget. The leftovers can be used for lunches and dinners, can also be frozen for another time, later during the week or another week. And having more valuable meals at home will help to limit the number of times fast food is eaten as dinner to once a month or less. And another way to save time and money is to sign Jane up for the school breakfast program. This can provide Jane with a nutritious breakfast at school for a free or reduced cost. So to start, we're going to provide Jane with 3 days of meals to follow, and she can substitute different foods in to give more variety or to tailor it to her liking. Each day, the calorie count is below her required intake, and this is on purpose because we want to kickstart her weight loss to get her out of the obese category. And it also provides a little wiggle room for adjustments because Jane's previous diet was kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum of what we're aiming for. So here's the 3 days, just some examples of foods she can eat, such as instant oatmeal. Those are fast and easy breakfasts. Yogurt, low-fat yogurt. Let's see, apples. Good snacks are carrots and hummus. The snack-size puddings to satisfy her sweet tooth, but not as bad as having ice cream or cookies. You just want to make sure that she gets in the required nutrients without going over on the fats, calories, sodium, and saturated fat. And we've also tried to bump up the consumption of fruits and vegetables that we've added at each meal and snacks. So here's another day. Hard-boiled eggs are a good way to get in protein, low calorie, and they're easy to grab on the go foods if you're in a rush. And the third day, this was a day at home. She likes pizza. She can make pizza bagels using a whole wheat bagel, low sodium tomato sauce, and low sodium cheese, adding some vegetables onto that like mushrooms, peppers, and then an apple. Additional suggestions I have for Jane are that she gets her blood checked at least every 6 months to make sure that she's on track and also obtaining optimal nutrients. She wants to have her blood checked for at least the glucose, HDL, LDL, triglycerides, iron, and vitamin D. And the more positive and supportive everyone is, the easier it will be for Jane to make these adjustments. Keep in mind that patience is required. It will take a while to start seeing big changes. But once these changes start, Jane will have more energy, feel better about herself, lower her risk of life-threatening diseases, and might even notice her grades improve. Patience and persistence will pay off. Jane and her family will feel great, be healthier, and even have more time and money to allot to fun activities.